Today we're going to look at an introduction to some data analysis. Data analysis is simply figuring out what your data means. So if you've been given a bunch of numbers for something, then you need to figure out what it means for you. There are lots of different pieces of data analysis. The three we're going to look at today are the mean, median, and mode. Mean is the average of your data. So like how I figure your grades is an average of what you've done over the 9 weeks. I take your grades, I add them all up, I divide by how many grades there are, and I come up with your average. That is one way to figure out grades, and that is the way that I do yours. Another piece of data analysis is simply finding the number in the middle. So if I took all your grades and lined them up, and I just picked the number in the middle, that could be your grade. That's not how I do grades. But that is a form of data analysis. And another piece we're going to look at is called the mode. That is the number that's used the most in your data. So if I took all your grades and you had a bunch of hundreds, more than any other number, then your grade would be 100. I have a couple of different ways to try to remember how these analyze. And for mean, it's the average, like how your teacher averages your grade. So sometimes I say the mean teacher gives me my average, even though I'm not a mean teacher. But that's how you can remember. What do I do if Ms. Weaver asks for the mean? Then I'm going to add them all up and divide by how many. And I'm going to go over that in just a minute. The median is the number in the middle. Just like if you were driving down the road and sometimes there's grass in the middle of the road or concrete, and your parents might call that the median. It's what's in the middle of the road, and that's the number in the middle. So that's what helps me remember that. And mode sounds kind of like most. Mode is the most, and that's the number that's used the most. So I want to look at some of our data. And this is made up data, but you're going to do this with your plant that you've been growing at home. And the data that I'm given here is the height of the plant in inches. So if you measured it every week or every day, whatever your data was, for us it was every week. And this was the different data I got. The first week it was 2, then the second week 2, the third week 2, the fourth week it grew to 3, and then something happened. I didn't water it or something, and then it went back down to 2 inches, then back up to 3, 4, 4, and 5. So that's the height that I measured about my plant. Or it could be the width, or this could be your grades. It's a group of numbers that we need to analyze. The first thing that is the very most important thing to remember is that when you have some data, you must put them in order from least to greatest before you begin doing anything. So I'm taking our numbers, these are our numbers right here, and I've put them in order least to greatest. So I have 2, 2, 2, 2 instead of that 1, 2 out in the middle where it shrunk up. 3, 3, 4, 4, 5. So that's my plant data. And I'm going to start what I think is the easiest to the hardest way. So the easiest thing for us to do, to me, is find the mode. And that's a number if you see a number more than any of the other numbers. It's the most. You don't always have a mode. Sometimes if you had 5 grades and your grades were 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, you had 5 grades, they were all different, there would be no mode. But if your grades were 50, 60, 80, 80, 80, then 80 would be your mode because you have more of those than others. So I'm going to kind of group these up. I have 4 2s, 2 3s, 4, and like that. Now, there are more than one, but that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a number that's there more than any of the others, and we do have a mode. 2 is our mode because there are more 2's than any other number. So that one's pretty easy. Didn't have to figure out too much or anything. Median. Remember, median is the number in the middle, kind of like the grass or the concrete in the middle of the highway near your house, perhaps. So I'm looking for a number in the middle. And what I usually do for this is I pair things off to meet in the middle. I want to meet in the middle. So 2 to 5, 2 to 4, 2 is buddies with that 4, 2 buddies with that 3. The number in the middle is 3. So my median is 3. Pretty easy. Now to find the mean, that's what the mean teacher does to get your grades. I have to add all these up first. So I'm going to add them up. 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 8. 3 more is 11. 3 more is 14. 4 more is 18. 4 more is 22. 5 more is 27. So if I added all those up, it would equal 27. So remember what I do is I add them all up and then I divide by how many numbers there are. So let me see how many numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 numbers. So 9 into 27, ooh, this is a pretty good one, goes 3 times. So my mean is 3. Now it could have been something where I had a fraction left over and you could put that in there. The one thing I want to tell you is if you have a group of data where there's not one single number alone, so let me show you. Here's my group of data. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 6 pieces of data. I buddy them off to find the ones in the middle. 2 goes to 2. And now I'm left with 2 numbers in the middle. So what I do is I add those 2 numbers. 3 plus 4 equals 7. And then since it's 2 numbers, I divide that 7 by 2. 7 divided by 2 equals 3 and a half. So that my median, if there's 2 numbers, you have to divide those 2 numbers by 2. Add them up, divide by 2. So you're going to take your plant data and you're going to find these 3 things for me. You're going to find the mode, the number that's used the most, the median, the number that's in the middle. Remember, the numbers have to be in order from least to greatest. And then the mean. The mean is when you add all these numbers, get the total, and then divide by how many numbers there were. There were 9 numbers here, so I divided 27 by 9. Again, a very simple introduction to data analysis.